By the end of this video, you're going to be able to generate images using Google's AI Gemini in Unity for free. First, we need an API key from the Google's AI Studios website. You'll find all the links we'll use in the video in the description. Click on Create API Key, click the search bar and choose Generative Language Client. Click Create API Key in existing project. Now copy your API key and keep it somewhere safe for later use. Also, make sure that you don't share it with anyone. Now in Unity, let's start by adding an image that will display the result of the generator. Let's add an empty game object to hold the generation code. Let's create a new script. I'll call it image generator and let's assign it to our game object. Inside the code editor, let's add a string reference to our API key. Let's add an image reference to our result image, an integer for the maximum attempts the generator can run, since Gemini might sometimes return an error. I'll set this to 3 by default. Let's add a string for our prompt, and I'll also attribute a text area to it so that it's easier to write bigger prompts. And finally, a string for the image endpoint and paste this URL here. This is simply the web address we send our prompt to, so Gemini can generate the image for us. And as you can see here, we're using Gemini 2.0 Flash model, which is completely free. But please note that there are other paid models that give better results, so feel free to dive deeper into this topic yourself. Now let's add some helper classes that will help us easily extract the image from Gemini's response. Make sure that you write these exactly as is. Now let's make the coroutine that will generate the image. Inside, we'll start by adding a loop that will run until we either successfully get an image or we run out of attempts. Inside the loop, let's first increment the attempts counter and let's declare some variables for the web request we're about to do. We'll form a URL string composed of the image endpoint and API key and a string for the JSON data that formats our prompt and tells Gemini exactly what kind of response we want. Let's now add a byte array for the JSON to send, and make sure to add the system.text namespace above. This converts our JSON string into UTF-8 encoded bytes so it can be transmitted in the web request. Now let's start a Unity post web request like so and open up the curly braces. Inside, let's assign the JSON to send to the upload handler, declare a new download handler, and set the request header content type to application/JSON. Now let's yield return the send web request method so that we wait until we get a response back from the server. Afterward, let's check if the result we got is successful. If so, we'll start extracting the image from the response. For that, let's first declare an image response set to the result of parsing the JSON text from the server response. Now let's check if the response has valid candidates with content and parts. If so, let's loop through all the content parts in the first candidate. Inside, if the part.inline data is not null and if the data is not null or empty, let's convert the part's inline data from a base 64 string into a byte array called image bytes. Afterward, let's declare a new texture 2D and set its width and height to 2. Then let's load the image from the image bytes array using text.loadImage. Let's create a new sprite out of the loaded texture so we can display it in the UI and set it to our result image sprite. Now set the success boolean to true and break out of the loop since the image was successfully generated. Additionally, you can add some debug logs to help catch any errors. It's optional but handy for troubleshooting. Now whenever you'd like to generate an image, you simply start this coroutine. For the sake of this tutorial, I'll just call it in the start method. Back to the editor, paste your API key from earlier in here, set the image reference, and write the prompt for the image you'd like to generate. To test this, I'll simply try to generate an image of a cat. Now if you press play and wait a few seconds, the image should load. And as you can see, it successfully generated the cat image. You can easily expand on this system to make anything you want. And I've already covered how you can make this cool avatar generator and how you can save the generated images to your PC. You can learn all of this in the exclusive tutorial on my Patreon, which you can get access to by becoming a member of the exclusive content tier. And there is a 20% discount running right now, but it's ending soon, so don't miss your chance to grab it before it's gone. Special thanks to all my patrons that are helping this channel grow. And if you want to support my work and get access to the project files of my tutorials, the link is in the description.